Outer Orange.
I have been testing this one deck quite a lot. It is just such a satisfying deck to play, and it feels so close to like really good Vanguard. And so I'm really excited to show you guys actually a video of my friend recording it today. And basically we went to locals yesterday and he decided to record his videos to actually see his own POV, but in the process we actually ended up running into each other, so he actually sent me the file so I can watch it with you guys. So that's what we're gonna do today. This is Chaos gameplay with the new stuff. Chaos is getting better and better, and I actually think next set it gets even stronger. So let's go ahead and watch some gameplay. And here I am, double me, and I have my Miku with me as well. So I'm gonna probably cut out some parts that are less important, but basically here we are. This is my friend playing Chrono, actually, which is the Chrono deck. Pretty good. He actually did really well. I think he ended up finishing second, I want to say. I think he finished second, or I remember he got the mat, but that was because this was for a cup thing. So this is the Yumishiko cup, but we just played it with basically whatever we wanted to. And we were talking about dice rolls here, and he did end up winning the dice roll, which I don't fully mind. I sometimes like going second, especially if I open up any cyclers, mainly the Shenri clone and also the energy cycler. It makes it a lot easier. I remember correctly, I opened pretty broken here, where I actually didn't know what to do because my hand was just full of like dudes that were all really good. I had a good like rush stuff that I can play. My friend here was basically just setting up for the for his Chrono, just picking up the retry and all that stuff. You guys know how Chrono works. Basically, it's a multi-attacking kind of like bunch of the little things deck. It goes around the retry eye, where you basically restand your dudes, including your Vanguard. It can be really scary, especially going second into it if they start popping off like crazy. It does take a while. So here I'm doing Chaos things. Honestly, Chaos turn one is very straightforward. If you find Shenri, great. If you don't, oh well. Basically Shenri is the best thing to hear, and I did have the Shenri, so it's basically a 21k column. And then I was also debating if I wanted to call a grade 1 here, and I do end up calling a grade 1, and I actually opened double Shenri. That's why this is the game open double Shenri. I don't usually open this, by the way. So basically both sides are 21k. Really good early start. So here I'm swinging again, just making the number. And then that's basically it. It's just a good little, I guess, a good little early rush here. And then as we see here, my friend opened the soul fronts, which is really good for Chrono. Chrono really needs the soul to kind of keep restanding. And then I was thinking about proccing the Shenri, and I realized I kind of made a mistake here. I should have procced the one on the rear guard over the one behind the Vanguard, only because it made the Vanguard always basically a big number, and also retry doesn't really retire. So that was something on my part that could have done better. It wasn't the end of the world, but it was definitely something I could have done better, but it's okay. So I take the first damage here. He did tri-lane me. I did hit the trigger, which I was down to have because my hand was all normal units. So yeah, I was thinking about if I wanted to want to pass it or not, and or if I just leave it like this, if I wish to guard. So I just decided to want to pass it. Didn't hit, and basically he tri-laned into the grade 1. Now I did kind of cheese him a little bit, so that grade 1 in the front is the one that lets you re-ride into the new Chaos. It's basically like the ride fixer, but I had actually 3, and I basically cheesed him into thinking that it was my only copy, so that way he would keep swinging into it and not give me too much damage because of how aggressive his grade 3 turn is. This is something he actually didn't know, but I actually played into the fact that I was trying very hard to act like I needed that card on the board. I actually did not need that card on the board. I was reading the energy card because I actually don't usually I don't usually find that card. It's a one-of, obviously. And I was thinking through if I wanted to drop anything, if I wanted to be aggro here. My hand, like I said, was doing pretty well here, so I was debating. I think I got the Makani in hand too, and I'm thinking about dropping it here or not. And essentially, usually it's pretty good to drop early, and so I do drop it here. We still charge a trigger, which is perfectly fine. As long as different card names, we really don't care what we're still charging. We do start carrying a little bit later when we actually can pick up cards from our soul back to our hand, which is really nice. So here I'm thinking how to swing. He does have dudes on the board, which means my Shenri clone is actually offline, so I'm actually debating on swinging into the rear guard here, which is exactly what I do. Swinging to the Shenri clone specifically just because that card just gives so much advantage for soul in hand, and he does choose to block it, which is perfectly fine. And then I think I just go face here saying screw it, might as well. It's to 18k. He has to force a trigger out if he wants to block it. And then I think I got there the Chaos Order, the grade 1, that's the counterboss one that's like really broken in the deck, and really good stuff. So here we have my friend thinking through what to discard. His hand, I didn't even know how good his hand was or how bad his hand was, but his hand definitely looks like it's struggling there a little bit. Looks like he doesn't have too much going on. But first he's doing the on-ride ability here, which is the top 5. You get to call a guy, and he did early open the grade 2 that basically revives itself out if so, like during your main phase, which is really good. This deck actually is really good at like refilling the board really fast, which is why he was tri-laning me early. Just something to kind of keep in mind. I've been talking about my set, but I've been talking talk about the Chrono side. But basically here he can revive 2. He can also get a card off of the ride line, then he get another card off of the Vanguard skill. So a lot of really good stuff here you can do with Chrono. Chrono can really pop off. If you open the Cyclers early, this deck gets really fast. It's a very hard deck to play around. So here he sets up the retry, sets up the grade 2. The grade 2 lets the Vanguard have +5. Now he's doing the Soul Blast ability to basically call a guy out. And as we see here, he just decides to pick up the grade 2 here. He's probably gonna be pitching that with like some type of guarding, because that's the grade 2 that basically calls itself out. Actually, is that retry? That might be retry, actually. It looks like retry. So there's the grade 2 and the retry card actually look really similar. I think it's the same guy. Anyway, here we are. Basically, he's just going to set up, and he's just probably going to go for a Vanguard swing here. He can swing with Vanguard, then restand it, and then swing again. And the restand does go back to... You just go back to crit 1 no matter how many crits you hit, which is like the downside. Anyway, here we go. Swing on an 18. I think through if I wanted to eat this or not, and I decided to just stay safe and just 2 to pass it here just in case. And the front goes through, but not the second trigger, so I am a little bit safe here. I didn't want to eat too much damage in case there was like crits and stuff, and I do know that the second restand is always 1 crit, so I don't mind. So I decided to just take it here. So he does hit a, I believe that was yeah, a crit that he hit. So I do hit a trigger, and then I hit a chaos there, the grade 3 chaos, and then he go swing in. He has a front on them, so the numbers on both sides are actually pretty high, and I think I asked for a number as well. So yeah, so there's that here. I think I just decided to take it, and then I do hit a heal, which is very, very big here. It makes me 30, and then I think I actually still end up taking it, unironically. I don't remember if I guard here or not. It's 30. I think he actually goes to the grade 1. That's right, he thinks about swinging to the Vanguard, then he goes to the grade 1, and I actually preferred that he's swinging to the grade 1. And then, yeah, that also asks for my hand size. Say he decides to go to the grade 1, and then I was like, yeah, that's fine, you can have it. But after some thinking. So then he goes to generate the I keep calling it the Philia to Soul, and then it's back to me. Now this is basically calculus time here. I'm gonna be setting up for like 5 minutes here just because of how much I have to do. So we ride here, do the soul charge, we get a normal unit, which means we can call a card from our soul back to the board, which is really awesome. And I think through quite a while here, so just ignore me for like 2 seconds. So I fast forwarded just a little bit just because of how long it takes me to think of a card to call. So I decided to call Quinn Lu off of the ride ability, and then here we're probably going to go into the chaos effect, which is the counterblast discard top 3. Ideally, now my hand didn't have any triggers or anything in it, so I had to keep discarding like good cards, but it's okay. So I think I pitch here the on ride target. So check top 3 here, put 1 to hand, 1 to soul, 1 to board. Really insane effect, as long as you don't see like 3 chaoses in that top 3. That's the only thing that's really risky. You definitely don't want that. But ideally for this effect, you want to pick up pieces. So you basically want to pick up shield or some form of shield or draw to hand, and then you want to basically set up like a really good board. Unfortunately, I saw 2 triggers, which was very likely to see because of how many triggers I haven't seen aside from the damage zone. Like I saw more anomalies than triggers at this point, so it was a high chance that that's going to happen. I'm thinking through if I want to set up the Makani yet here, because I do have the Quinn Lu, which means we are going for the double play. So I actually just go straight into the chaos. So we're binding, and we're basically grabbing chaos. And the way this card works is as long as you didn't ride, you get to persona ride, but regardless, you get the first effect, which is you can choose to soul charge 3. And then after you soul charge 3, you can choose to grab 2 cards from your soul and put 1 to the board and 1 to hand. None of it is mandatory, it's all up to. But here I'm soul charging 3. There goes the OT, bye-bye OT. And then I'm debating here again what to pick up. Again, these are the two most important parts of the deck, is knowing what to pick up off of the ride line and knowing what to pick up off of the chaos grade 3. They're the most important part. I'm also doing the math of how many soul different units I have in soul, because that's also very important. I eventually decide to grab the Sanctitude to hand and the Makani to board. Makani will proc here to give us another soul charge, which gets us another Makani. And then here I'm putting up the Makani into soul to grab the grade 3 Makani. I was debating here if I wanted to retire anything on his board. I think I eventually did decide to retire, because I was debating if I had enough cards in soul to be able to get the retire and the condition here. And I think I do end up retiring here. So I basically send a grade 1 away and then do one of his grade 1s. That card's really good. It's like a 10k shield, and also it can retry, so just in case I wanted to kill it off, just because it only activates if he's on 4 damage or on persona, and I just didn't want that happening. So I said screw it. Anyway, here we're activating the grade 1 order. This card's just insane, and I tell him about the chaos ability. Basically, as many different chaoses you have in hand, if you check top 5 and you can put any of those cards in soul. I only had 4, so I can only put 4 into soul. So I think if I remember correctly, the top 5 I had 1 trigger, and then I had 1 or 2 triggers, and then I had the 3 green. And I was thinking to make sure I don't want to miss the conditions, so I want to make sure that I need to put another card in soul, because you could put, I can put 4. And they're all different card names. But then I think through and I was like, okay, we're good. So basically here we shuffle. Like I said, a lot of setup here. So I had the Quinn, I put the Quinn Lu in soul early to give the Makani the power, and then I basically set up another Makani board. I had the Makani in hand, so I'm just basically calling over the heal, and then I'm setting up the Quinn Lu here. So I was originally going to put the Makani in soul and get the grade 3 that way. I just didn't have a Makani to grab. Basically did the math. I think I had like 16 in there, and I asked him if he wanted to check it. He said no, it's fine. And yeah, basically I set up for the bind now, and now we get the plus 50 because we don't have the booster since I lost it because I accidentally misplayed there, which is very valid. It's actually very easy to misplay in this deck because you're setting up for something you don't know. Mainly you just don't know what you're going to soul charge out with the new chaos. So it's possible that you're setting up for something and you might think like, well, I go one way, but then it might go a different way. You just don't know because, like I said, the soul charge is random, so you just don't know what you're gonna get. Start swinging in. Both sides do have the guard trick, which means you can't guard from hand with grade 1s or greater, so you do have to be, that's like the big thing to be mindful of here. And then I also regarded the fact that the order gave the extra 10k to the Makani, and I never put the 10k from the chaos on it. So here I am swinging in. Again, I'm saying can't guard with the grade 1s or greater, so he's choosing to intercept here with the front trigger, and then I swing in, restaying the Makanis, and this is like, I think 41k with the crit on it. It's pretty massive. It's pretty massive, and yeah, so there he basically says OT to pass, and I already still charged the OT, so it didn't actually matter. I was just doing the math here. So we did hit a crit, which again, considering the circumstances of how it was at this point, I think it's like 50-50. And I also hit the draw, so I hit the draw, and then I just basically stack up a guy. They both have the guard restrict on them, and then so it didn't really, it didn't really matter where I put it, but just for numbers in case there's like on a front hand or something like that. Just to set it up, and then here just go swing it again. I think this is 35 now for 35 for no grade 1s or greater restriction, and then the other side's even higher with the grade 1 restriction. They get pretty high. So here he does that. Oh right, I put the 2 damage on that side, and then I did that for 1. I think this is the one he just decides to block, which is perfectly fine. Or actually, I think he just takes it. Just he says 1 damage. I say yeah, and then back to him. And I didn't realize that he damaged Persona. That is so unfortunate. So here I am basically getting my Feeling to soul, and then putting my Makanis, and then rewriting back into the old one, passing it back over to my friend here. That's my friend's turn. Now he did not have Persona, which was a big caveat for him. I think this really hurt him in the long run. I don't think I was dying. I did get the Sank in my hand just in case, because Chrono does have a grade 2 that actually plays around PGs. It shuts off perfect guards, which is kind of funny because I'm also shutting off perfect guards basically, but he just shuts off in a different way. So it's something to be mindful of when you're playing into this deck. They do have access to that. It's the grade 2 on the right side that we have there right here on our right. So that card for Energy Blast 3 can shut off stuff, so be careful. And then the grade 2 on the left side has a crit on it, so you have to be mindful of this when you're playing into this deck of how to guard. He did have the ability active, like the ability for Chrono active. He just didn't have the Persona. The Persona is a little bit better because the numbers are better, but that's okay. So basically here he's setting up. He got the phone, the smartphone thing, which lets you go put into soul and then basically check top 7 for another retry eye. I think here he just wanted a unit on the board, so I don't think he even cared for the soul ability here. But basically here he's setting up for his turn. He's dropping the Philia, his swings. Now it may seem like he doesn't have that much soul. He has 1 soul, but actually he does get the full soul condition. So basically the retry lets you restand 2 now, since he did have the second one. So he can restand the Vanguard. He can also restand one of the grade 2s, and that's something to keep in mind. Now it may look like he doesn't have the soul, but he'll get there. Like I said, I did prepare for it somewhat. I did make sure to grab as much protection as I could, just because I knew this was coming, just in case. So yeah, something to keep in mind. So here he is putting a card from hand to soul to then be able to proc the ability to get the grade 2 out. I was at 3 damage. I was kind of a little scared to take too much damage because I didn't want him randomly checking like 2 crits or anything like that. So I did play a little bit cautiously with that in mind. So there's the grade 2 that I thought was the retry eye. Basically this one can attack from the back row and it gets plus 15k power total. So it's a 25k little beater in the back. Ideally what you want to do is you want to kind of swing with him first, let the opponent take the damage, put him on the floor, and then make the Vanguard more lethal. That's usually like how you want to play it, just because he's only 25, so he's pretty guardable. He never has Persona power on him. So he's literally just a trigger block, and then that makes the Vanguard a little bit easier to take, in my opinion. But then you also have to keep in mind the 2 grade 2s to the front row, and one of them is restanding. And then I was doing the math here on my triggers. On my deck, I don't want to deck out because it is actually plausible to deck out. I think I also had the Blitz order in my soul, which is the one that gets the extra 15k power, but it does activate as an order. So if you proc it, you can't proc Sanctitude, and I did have Sanctitude in my hand, so something to keep in mind. So here's putting in a soul. Now he's swinging with the Vanguard, and it's only 1 drive check, so I took it, and nothing too crazy, so I took the damage into Makani. And then here we go. He's swinging with the auto ability guy. So this is the guy that basically procs the skill. So he's proccing the skill here. So basically I can't use perfect guards against it, which is pretty fine. Then the guy, I think I end up just taking this grade 2 just because I have no reason not to be honest. I had the sink in hand and I think I had enough to guard the guy twice. So I did hit a defense, which is really nice here. And then he's putting in a soul. So then again with Aphelios, now he has the 2 soul again to retry with this grade 2 that he'll be swinging. So here he's gonna proc the ability to let it have the extra crit. So it is swinging for 2 damage, so I can't take it obviously, so I have to block it here. So it's just exactly what we end up doing here. I do decide to just proc it. It gives me plus 50k shield, which made me 38k. And then he basically soul blast 2 to restand it. Now the downside to the restand for this one actually ends up being smaller. I thought it was gonna be like a really big guy. To PG it or something, and ended up actually not being that big, so I was like, oh, okay. And he did mention that it's only 1 damage because retry puts it back to 1. So here I am blocking with the energy cycler, which lets me draw a card, and it was just enough. I think he swung for 25 and I was 28. Again, if he had persona, the numbers would have been a lot bigger. So here I did have the chaos in hand, so basically I'm just setting up to ride into it here. So yeah, I ride the chaos. I check my deck count just to make sure I don't go over, not soul charge 3, and just instantly go for grabbing 2 cards from my soul to the board in hand. So I'm thinking through which ones I want. So I go for the Quinlu and Mikani. Ideally, that's what you want to go for because you want Mikani to grab your grade 3 Mikani. You want Quinlu to set up for the Garter Strix. So I put the Quinlu in hand with Mikani to the board. I choose not to soul charge. It's not mandatory. I actually forgot to activate Persona for a second. So I put the Quinlu to soul and I get the +2. And then this is when I realized that I was like, oh, I didn't Persona ride. So I had to draw. I set up the Mikani. Anyway, here I am playing another one of the orders. And basically here, I told him that I have now the other chaos, so I can now set up for, I can basically put all 5 in soul. I'm obviously not going to, unless they're all normal units. The chances of that happening are very unlikely, but I can put as many cards as I want in, basically into the top 5. Anyway, here, I think I put 2 in, no, I put 3 in, holy, 4 in, oh my lord. That's crazy. That's crazy. I basically told it's my last turn. This is my final turn, my guy. I got nothing else. I got 4 cards in my in my deck here. Anyway, so after this, I'm not gonna go through this as much. I'm gonna just tell you guys what I'm gonna do here. I'm basically setting up for the Quinlu again, and then I think I just call triggers and I just call it a day. Like it's nothing too crazy. I think I energy blast as well to draw an additional card just to see if I can get another booster out as well. So that's basically it. So actually I chose not to do it, so we didn't go that route. Anyway, going to battle phase, I set up for the double Quinlu, so I'm swinging both sides here with basically huge numbers because they're under persona and they have the additional 10k off of the order. I think I don't have a hand either. I think I called my entire hand on, and it's all no grade 1s or greater, and I believe that is 6 damage here. So I think that is it. Whew. Enjoy that. Hope it was informative or anything like that. I think chaos is actually really strong right now. I will say your mulligan matters a lot, and by a lot I mean like an insanely high amount. If you mulligan incorrectly, you can lose off of it, so keep in mind this deck is extremely hard to play and pilot. It is probably one of the hardest decks to pilot, I believe, in Vanguard right now, in terms of D specifically. So like and subscribe. 50cards.shop, code orange if you need anything, and also BCW orange 10 if you need any supplies coming up for the upcoming seasons and all that kind of good stuff. You can use my code to save some money. Hope you guys enjoyed this. There'll probably be more of these kind of videos coming out just because my friend here is just enjoying seeing some PvP of himself playing. So if I'm in another round with him, I'll probably do this again. Peace out. Das vidania. See you guys in a future video. Bye.